When a poor waitress found a wallet filled with thousands of dollars, everyone expected her to keep it. But what she did next changed her life forever. The rain that night didn't fall softly. It poured, drenching the city in a restless symphony of thunder and water. Streetlights blurred into golden halos, and traffic lights flickered through misty air. It was one of those nights when even hope seemed to hide behind clouds. And down a lonely street, Lena Carter walked alone, her coat soaked, her breath visible in the cold. She had just finished her late shift at Frankie's Diner, where she worked as a waitress. Her feet ached, her uniform smelled faintly of coffee and grease, and her weekly pay, $218 after taxes, was folded neatly in her pocket. It wasn't enough for the bills piling on her kitchen counter, but it was something. Lena was 24, quiet and hard-working, the kind of person people barely noticed but would miss if she ever disappeared. Life had never given her much, but she had something that money couldn't buy: kindness. A kind that came from surviving hard times without letting them make her bitter. As she turned onto Elm Street, she saw something lie near the curb, a dark leather wallet, half hidden beneath the wheel of a parked car. She paused. "Probably empty," she murmured, bending down. The rain dripped from her hood as she picked it up. It wasn't empty. Inside were credit cards, IDs, and a thick stack of cash, $2,000 at least. Her breath caught. She looked around. No one, just a hum of rain and the echo of tires on wet asphalt. For a moment, temptation whispered. Her mother's rent was due. The heater was broken. They hadn't had proper groceries in 2 weeks. No one would know, but Lena would know, and she couldn't live with that. She opened the ID. Richard Graham, Graham Industries. Her eyes widened. Graham Industries? The tech company? The name was everywhere. Billboards, job ads, even on the coffee machines at the diner. She slipped the wallet into her coat pocket and hurried home through the rain. Her small apartment smelled faintly of coffee and rainwater. The wallpaper peeled near the kitchen window, and the hum of the refrigerator filled the silence. Her mother, Joan Carter, sat on the old couch, knitting by a flickering lamp. "You're late," Joan said softly without looking up. "Double shift," Lena replied, hanging her coat. It was busy tonight. Joan nodded. "You eat?" Lena hesitated, then smiled. "I grabbed a sandwich at work." That was a lie. She hadn't eaten since morning. After her mother went to bed, Lena took out the wallet and placed it on the table. The name, Richard Graham, gleamed under the dim light. She flipped to the cards again, then found a business card tucked in one pocket. Richard Graham, CEO, Graham Industries. Office, 101 Westbourne Tower. Lena stared at the card for a long time. She could have kept it. No one would ever find her, but she didn't want the money. She wanted peace. She wrote a note. "Mr. Graham, I found your wallet last night on Elm Street. Please let me know how I can return it. Lena Carter." She placed a note beside her phone and fell asleep, unaware that the choice she'd made, to do the right thing when no one was watching, would change the course of her entire life. Morning came gray and quiet. Lena woke early, heart pounding with uncertainty. She took the business card and dialed the number. A crisp voice answered. "Graham Industries. How may I assist you?" "Hi," Lena said nervously. I found Mr. Graham's wallet last night." There was a brief pause. "You found what?" "His wallet. I'd like to return it." "Hold, please." Moments later, a different voice came on, calm, deep, professional. "This is Richard Graham. You have my wallet." Lena blinked. "Yes, sir. I found it near Elm Street." There was relief in his tone. "Miss, I can't thank you enough. I've been searching for that since last night. May I send someone to pick it up?" She hesitated. "I can bring it to you." A pause. Then, "All right. My office, 10th floor, Westbourne Tower. Ask for me at reception." When the call ended, Lena sat quietly, her hands trembling slightly. She didn't know what to wear, what to say, but she knew she'd do what felt right. The next morning, she stood before the towering glass building, heart racing. The place looked like a world far beyond her own. Businessmen rushed past in sleek suits. Women in heels carried laptops and lattes. Lena adjusted her thrift store coat and walked inside. The marble floors gleamed. Chandeliers sparkled above the lobby. At the reception desk, a young woman smiled politely. "Good morning. Do you have an appointment?" "I'm here to see Mr. Richard Graham," Lena said softly. "He's expecting me." The receptionist typed, then looked up. "Yes, he mentioned you. Go right ahead, top floor." The elevator ride felt endless. When the doors opened, she stepped into a world of glass walls and quiet power. And there, near the window, stood a tall man in his early 40s in a gray suit, Richard Graham himself. He turned as she entered. "Miss Carter?" "Yes, sir." He smiled warmly. "You have no idea how relieved I am. That wallet had everything. IDs, keys, contracts." She handed it over carefully. "I'm glad I found it." He opened it, checked briefly, then looked at her with genuine gratitude. "You could have taken the money. Why didn't you?" Lena smiled faintly. "Because it wasn't mine." Richard studied her sincerity, her modesty, the quiet conviction in her eyes. He extended his hand. "Thank you, Miss Carter. People like you remind me that decency still exists." She shook his hand, ready to leave, but he said, "Wait, please. Let me at least offer you something. A reward." She shook her head. "No, sir. I didn't do it for that." And before he could say more, she smiled politely and left. A few days later, Lena returned to her routine, double shifts, sleepless nights, and bills that never stopped coming. She didn't tell anyone about the encounter. It wasn't her style to brag, but someone else wasn't done thinking about her. Richard Graham sat in his office, staring at her name written on a note, Lena Carter. Something about her sincerity lingered in his mind. In a world full of greed and ambition, her quiet honesty had been a light. He asked his assistant to run a simple check, not invasive, just to know more about her. When the report came back, he was stunned. Lives with her mother. Works 2 jobs. Clean record. Top of her class in accounting. Dropped out due to financial issues. That evening, he made a decision. 2 days later, Lena received a sealed envelope in her mailbox. Inside was a handwritten note. "Dear Miss Carter, your honesty speaks volumes about your character. I would like to offer you a position at Graham Industries as a junior administrative assistant. Your integrity is the kind of foundation this company values. Richard Graham." Lena's hands trembled. She read it twice. It felt unreal, like life had suddenly turned a corner she never expected. She showed it to her mother, who blinked in disbelief. "Honey, this is huge." "But, Mom, I'm not qualified for something like that." "You're qualified in the one thing money can't buy, honesty." Her first day at Graham Industries felt like stepping into another world. Rows of glass offices, soft chatter, computers humming. She wore her best outfit, a simple blouse and gray skirt, and did her best to stay invisible. But people noticed. Her humility stood out. Her dedication impressed her supervisor. And within weeks, she became indispensable, organizing files, staying late, helping others. One day, Richard passed her desk. "Miss Carter," he said with a smile, "you're doing remarkably well." "Thank you, sir." He hesitated. "And please call me Richard." She blushed slightly. "Yes, sir. I mean Richard." It was a simple exchange, but something shifted that day, a quiet respect that would grow into something profound. But kindness doesn't protect anyone from struggle. A few months later, Lena's mother fell ill. Medical bills piled up. Lena tried to hide her worry at work, but Richard noticed. One evening, after everyone had left, he saw her still at her desk, tears quietly falling onto the paperwork. He approached gently. "Lena, what's wrong?" She tried to smile. "Nothing, just a long day." He looked at her kindly. "You've worked here 6 months. You've never been late, never complained. If something's wrong, I want to help." She hesitated, then whispered, "It's my mother. She's sick. The insurance won't cover her treatment." Without a word, Richard walked to his desk, wrote a check, and placed it in her hand. She looked at it. $10,000. "Richard, I can't." "You can," he interrupted softly. "You didn't ask for this." But I owe you more than you realize. You returned what was mine. Let me return the favor. Tears filled her eyes. I'll pay you back. He smiled. Don't. Just promise me one thing. When you're in a position to help someone else, do it. She nodded, her voice breaking. I will. Time passed. Lena's mother recovered. Lena rose through the ranks at Graham Industries, assistant coordinator, then executive officer. Her hard work and compassion earned her everyone's respect. 5 years later, she stood beside Richard at a company event, now confident and poised. Cameras flashed, and he introduced her to the audience. 5 years ago, he said, I lost my wallet, but what I gained that day was far greater. I gained a reminder that integrity still exists in this world. And that reminder stands beside me today, my most trusted colleague, Lena Carter. The crowd applauded. Lena blinked back tears. She whispered, I just did what anyone should do. Richard smiled. That's exactly why you're extraordinary. After the ceremony, Lena went outside for some air. The city lights shimmered below, reflecting in her eyes. Her phone buzzed. A message from her mother. Proud of you, sweetheart. Your kindness built this life. She smiled softly, and then, as she turned to leave, she noticed a small boy drop his wallet near the stairs. She called out, Hey, you dropped this. The boy turned grateful. Thank you, ma'am. As she handed it back, Lena realized this was how kindness works. It doesn't end. It multiplies. 10 years after that rainy night, Lena became the director of community outreach at Graham Industries, a department she helped create to support underprivileged families and struggling workers. She never forgot where she came from. She never forgot the rain, the wallet, or the moment she chose honesty over desperation. And whenever someone asked how she got her start, she would simply smile and say, by returning something that wasn't mine and finding something far greater in return. Moral: one selfless act can change a life, and sometimes it's your own.